What's going on, guys? I'm gonna show you a couple of cool tapping licks from my favorite guitar player, Mr. Felipe Staiti. And this first one goes like this. Right, so what's going on here? It's basically, we're in the key of C sharp minor. And if you're familiar with the solo to beat it, it's very similar. I know Felipe is a big Eddie Van Halen fan. So I'll play it slowly with the tab underneath and I'll explain it a little bit afterwards. It goes like this. So basically we're tapping on fret 17 for the most part, and we're pulling off 16, 14, and 12. We've got this kind of thing going. And we do some individual notes. Sounds super melodic. That's beautiful. I love this. It sounds so beautiful. And then he does it again. He goes back up. He does this kind of thing. And then he goes out of position a little bit. That part's kind of hard. And then he taps this note again and he goes back to the original position. And then he does a little tap slide. And then he just goes down the scale. He adds the blue note too, the flat 5. I did that wrong. Let me see. There we go. It's kind of hard to do it slowly, but you get the idea. Alright, next is the tapping to the outro to the song Lamento Boliviano. And I'll play it slowly. We're in E Dorian, and I'll do it slowly with the tab underneath and go something like this. Okay, so we're tapping 14th fret on the 2nd string and pulling off 12, 10, and 8 on the 2nd string. So we got this kind of thing going. And he starts it by doing this pattern. He goes, and then he goes to the 1st string and he does this thing where he goes out of position and then back to position. He does that a lot. He goes, and then hammer from nowhere to the 2nd string. And then he also does a tap slide, which he does a lot. Also, he'll go, and then he goes to the 3rd string and he does this kind of thing. This is the hardest part of that lick. He goes, so, and then he does this like scale run. He's constantly tapping the 14th fret on the 3rd string and then just going down the scale. And then 4th string, again tapping the 14th fret, and he goes. So have fun with that. Mi Primer Día Sin Ti. This one is really tricky to get it exactly the way he does it on the record, but I'm going to show you exactly what he does. I'll do it slowly with the tab underneath and then I'll explain it a little bit. Here we go. Yeah, he uses a sustainiac, or the sustainer there at the end. Anyway, we are in A Mixolydian for this one. And guitar fans, you'll know he's, right before he does that tapping thing, he's basically quoting Joe Satriani's summer song. And then he goes into that tapping thing. But yeah, A Mixolydian, and it's very tricky, to, like I said, to get it exactly like the record. I usually just improvise it, and I'm pretty sure he does the same thing. But regardless, it's all on the B string, and he does a bunch of different patterns. For example, one of them that he does is he just starts going up, and then he'll go, that's one pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. And then he'll change it up, like he does this a couple times, and then back to that other pattern, and then he'll just do, so a bunch of different patterns. And then he moves up to 15th position, and he does, and again moving out of position and then going back into position. And then he does this scale run all on the B string, just going down and then back up. It's very melodic, something like this. Turn on the sustainer. Super fun. Guitarras Blancas, we're in C minor. We're tapping on strings 3 and 4. I'll do it slowly. So the main pattern that he does is very similar to what I've shown you before, but now in this key. He's doing this kind of thing, tapping on fret 13 on the 3rd string, and then pulling off 12, 10, 8 on the 3rd string. So, and he does this kind of thing. Do it slowly and then gradually build up the speed. And then he does similar on the 4th string, and then back to the 3rd string, and he does the same thing as earlier, where he goes out of position and then back into position. He does. Sounds killer. And then. And it just goes down the scale. Me Veras, this one has some really cool tapping in it. There's 2 licks I'm going to show you. They both happen in the guitar solo. We're in the key of A major, F sharp minor, and I'll do it slowly. The first one. The second one is towards the end of the solo, and it goes like this. So the first one starts out real interesting. He bends a note, and he and he taps a note while the left hand has a note bent, so like this. And he does do some vibrato too. It sounds really cool. So we're just tapping between frets 20 and 17. He's just kind of going back and forth. Very Van Halen. And then he does a little sequence on the second string, and then he goes to the first string. And the sequence on the second string sounds like this. And then the one on the first string sounds like this. It's kind of a big stretch, but those big interval jumps combined with playing it fast make it sound really cool. And then the ending, all on the second string. And excuse me, it starts off with this sequence. So how many notes is that? 1, 2, 5 notes. Right before he goes to the next sequence, he just does this pattern. 4 notes. And then he goes to, it sounds like, I don't know what song that is. Anyway, and then he goes to the next sequence. This one's really hard because it's a stretch. He taps 14 and then pulls off 10, 12, 10, and 7, like this. It's kind of painful. And then the last sequence is he taps 17 and he pulls off 14, 12, and 10, and he goes. He does that 3 times, and after that, he does the same pattern on the left hand, but his tapping finger keeps going higher and higher and higher, one fret at a time, until he reaches the 24th fret. So something like this. And then it goes back into the chorus. For el resto, the studio version reminds me of, again, Van Halen. You Really Got Me. He does this tapping thing and he just kind of goes down the neck. It sounds like this slowly. Okay, so constantly tapping the 17th fret on the second string, and then you have this pattern 12, 15, hammer on, and then you just go down one fret at a time until you get to fret 6 and 9. So it's like this. And then you end it like this. For el resto, the live version, he uses the edge of the pick to do the tapping instead of his finger now. It's really fast, very Satriani, and it sounds like this slowly. It's all on the first string, and he's constantly getting higher and higher and higher until he ends up on this note. But anyway, let me do it slowly. So what is he doing? Use the edge of the pick to tap on the fret, and he starts off tapping fret 17 and fretting fret 15. So, and then he goes up a whole step and does the same thing, frets 19 and 17, and then he just goes up one fret at a time. Until he gets to fret 24 tapped and fret 22 fretted, and then he ends on that super high note. Use wah. Sounds cool. And that's how he does it. pick to tap as well. And I'll do it slowly. Sounds like this. It sounds really weird slowly, but when you get it up to speed, it's a really cool effect. It sounds really unique. So once again, slowly, and then I'll play it a little bit quicker. The fretted hand, I don't know if you noticed, but I use my index finger to bar to keep everything nice and quiet. And the notes that I fret, I use fingers 2 and 3. I don't know if you noticed that, just to keep things quiet with this finger. Have fun with that one. That one's really cool. Alright, Radio Maracaná. This is from his solo album, C sharp minor. And I'll show you the first sequence, tapping sequence that he does. So he goes. So it's really tricky. He's constantly playing really fast and going from one position to the next, and then going to other strings, and it's really hard. But just work on it slowly and you'll get it. I'll explain a little bit. He's basically doing this sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That pattern again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he goes to the next part of the scale, the next position, right here. And quickly moves on to the next position. He does a slide to get to the next position, and he does this. Hammer on from nowhere to the second string. And then a little tap slide. Third string. And then have your pick ready to play these notes. So yeah, have your pick ready to go to play those notes. And then the outro, he goes like this. So again, very tricky. Subconsciously, maybe that's why I left this for the end, but still same key, C sharp minor. We start on the 3rd string this time, and starts on the note B. And then he does this sequence. You've seen that before. And then he does this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he goes to the 2nd string. Constantly moving between positions. And then he does this. It's more of a left hand thing, legato thing. And then more tapping. Very melodic on the 2nd string, and then he ends it like this. You get a little pinch harmonic on that last note, and dive bomb, it'll be perfect. There you go. Have fun. So the last thing I'll show you is something I call the Staiti lick. You hear him play it multiple times in the live album, the Vivo album, and it's basically a minor 9 arpeggio. For example, we're in the key of A minor. It'll sound something like this. Or if we're in C sharp minor or E minor, So for example, the song Amores Lejanos, he does this. He does that arpeggio and then he follows it. Usually he follows it with some kind of a scale run. So for example, Amores Lejanos, he'll go. For Muralla Verde, he'll start at the same, but in C sharp minor, that arpeggio, and then he'll do this. He does this. And then in Francés Limón, he does this. He goes. In the key of E minor. So that's it. The Staiti lick, he does it a lot in the live album, like I said. And add it in your own improv, include it in your own playing. It sounds really cool. Have fun with it.